Amaka's wedding day nightmare. Amaka woke up on her wedding day feeling like a princess. Her beautiful white gown hung elegantly on the wall, and the delicious aroma of traditional Nigerian cuisine wafted through the air. But as she stepped out of bed, her world began to crumble. She felt dizzy and disoriented, like her feet were floating above the ground. Her thoughts were jumbled, and she couldn't make sense of anything. Her family and friends were worried. They didn't understand what was happening. "Amaka, what's wrong?" her mother asked, panic etched on her face. But Amaka couldn't respond. She stared blankly, her eyes glazing over. As the day went on, Amaka's condition worsened. She started talking nonsense, laughing uncontrollably, and crying without reason. Her relatives were shocked and scared. They didn't know what to do. Desperate for a solution, they took Amaka to see native doctors, thinking maybe she was possessed or cursed. They gave her potions and charms, but nothing worked. Days turned into weeks, and Amaka's madness persisted. Her fiancé, Ugo, was devastated. He loved Amaka with all his heart and couldn't bear the thought of losing her. One day, Ugo's friend suggested they visit Pastor Johnson, a wise and compassionate man of God. Pastor Johnson agreed to see Amaka and listened intently as Ugo explained her situation. After praying for Amaka, Pastor Johnson revealed a shocking truth: Amaka's madness was caused by a blood covenant she had made years ago. "When was this?" Ugo asked, stunned. "Amaka was just 10 years old," Pastor Johnson replied gently. "That she had made a promise to a man, Emma, to marry him. They had exchanged blood, sealing their vow. But as she grew older, Amaka realized Emma was just a motor mechanic, not rich or successful as she had hoped. She left him, breaking her promise." Pastor Johnson explained that the blood covenant was still binding, causing Amaka's madness. The only way to break it was to find Emma and get him to release her from the oath. Ugo and Amaka's relatives tracked down Emma, but he refused to break the covenant without compensation. He demanded a huge amount of money, a house, and a car. Ugo was torn. He wanted to save Amaka but worried about the cost. Pastor Johnson counseled him, "Ugo, blood requires sacrifice. If this is what it takes to restore Amaka's sanity, it's worth it." Ugo agreed to pay the price. Emma finally agreed to release Amaka from the blood covenant. With Pastor Johnson's guidance, they performed a ritual to break the oath. Slowly, Amaka began to regain her sanity. She remembered her past, her love for Ugo, and her dreams for the future. The wedding took place a few weeks later, with Amaka radiant in her white gown. Emma, now a distant memory, was nowhere to be seen. Amaka and Ugo exchanged vows, promising to love and cherish each other. As they danced at the reception, Amaka smiled, knowing she had found true love. Pastor Johnson blessed the union, saying, "Love conquers all, even the darkest of covenants." Years passed and Amaka and Ugo built a beautiful life together. They had two adorable children and a thriving business. Amaka never forgot the lessons she learned from her experience. One day, while counseling a young woman struggling with a similar issue, Amaka shared her story. "I thought I was in control, but I was bound by a promise I made as a child. Don't make the same mistake. Be cautious of the commitments you make, especially those that involve your future." The young woman listened intently, grateful for Amaka's wisdom. As Amaka reflected on her journey, she realized that her experience had taught her valuable lessons. True love requires sacrifice, and sometimes it's necessary to let go of the past to embrace the future. Ugo, noticing Amaka's contemplative mood, wrapped his arms around her. "You're safe now, my love. Forever and always." Amaka smiled, knowing she had found her soulmate. Their children grew up, hearing stories of their mother's remarkable journey. They learned the importance of integrity, loyalty, and the power of true love. Emma, the motor mechanic, occasionally thought about Amaka. He realized to let that true wealth wasn't about material possessions but about the relationships we nurture. Pastor Johnson continued to guide his flock, using Amaka's story as a testament to the transformative power of faith and love. As for Amaka and Ugo, they celebrated their anniversary every year, grateful for the love that conquered all, even the darkest of course.